Hey, remnants out there, how are you? Happy Saturday. Um, oh, happy day, right? I thank you so much for tuning in once again for another broadcast here. Um, we are here today speaking our truth. Um, my guests, Rosalia and Crystal, they informed me they're having some form of technical difficulties trying to get in on the broadcast, on the stream. I don't know. I mean, I've had my fair share, so I totally get it. I know what it is, how even frustrating, and we tend to go into a frenzy, when trying to log on. But either way, 1 p.m. Saturday expectation, I'm here. So what, before they join in, I wanted to take this opportunity to just thank every one of you, all you remnants out there that have been very supportive of this movement. Remnants of Red was started, with just the vision of seeing women stand up and to be the world changers that we were created to be. So our mission is just, is really just all about, making sure helping women to discover who God created them to be, what their purpose are, in order to move in it. And by doing that, there's this like cause and effect thing with knowing your purpose. Once you're moving in your purpose, then automatically it's like your world around you becomes affected and in a positive way. Because if you think about it, whatever it is that God gave to you, first of all, it's not only for you, and it's the bigger picture is for people's lives to be impacted and change for the better. So why not make a movement out of it, right? 1 second, Rosalia, she's calling in. Hey, yes. Okay, no problem. We're here. I'm here with I'm here. We started, and everyone. I explained that there is an issue, so we totally get it. We understand. So go ahead. Everyone. She just called in. She says she's going to log in from her phone. She was having issues with her laptop, so let's stay tuned. She's coming. All right. We'll see you in a bit. All right. So yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for the no judgment, right? For the support. So again, it's all about, seeing each and every piece of our world changed. And it changed by tapping into that inner core of yourselves and, getting in alignment and moving on that, right? Hey, Marcia. Thank you, Marcia, for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing all that you do. Yeah, so all you remnants out there, remnants, what is a remnant, right? What is a remnant? Why do I choose to call myself a remnant? Why do I even call you a remnant? It's because, I feel like there are people left out there that share the same thing that I share, that really want to see, not only, themselves become the better version of themselves, right? But they also want to see other people, join in on the team, to become part of the team and hold hands to go out there and make changes. So remnants, that's why I call you a remnant, because I feel that each and every one of you that, come alongside of me, you're in agreement with me, to change this world. So today we are speaking our truth. Rosalia and Crystal, they're coming, like I said. And today I just decided to get these two women together, mother and daughter, to talk about what's on their hearts, about what's, the current events in this world today, and what exactly is going on. All the racial tension, the discrimination out there. And I just wanted to, I had put together some questions, just discussion questions to throw out there to, just start the conversation. I wanted them to come and speak what's basically on their heart, right? Everyone has their own opinion. Again, I'm gonna put it out there that this is merely our opinion. This is our truth, what we believe in. So what I try not to do is to, what would I say, put someone else down or, beat someone else up because of their own opinion, because that's just how they feel. The most I can do is come with mine, and let's see how we can reason this thing together, ultimately to bring about some kind of peace, some kind of unity, some kind of baseline where we can all just move forward together, right? So the theme is around discrimination. It's not necessarily talking about, the question that I have, the theme of discrimination, I even have questions about women, us as women, and the discrimination that is, going on between us as women. You remnants that are out there tuning in, if you have any questions that you want answered, or you have comments, join in on the conversation. You may not necessarily join in, like we have a visual of you on the stream. Oh, 1 second, here they come. Okay. Uh-oh. What's going on my end? Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh my God. It's devil, you're a liar. I am not. Let me see. Hey, here they are. I told you they were coming. Hi, ladies.
Thank you so much. And for everyone online, thank you for waiting for us.
Oh, no problem. I understand. The remnants out there understand. So, no judgment. We all support each other. And besides, I know how it is to have technical difficulties. But
Lord, for camera has been
I know. The same thing with me too. I had to let Rosie know, your mom, let her know that just in case, I'm that we've had it where in the past conversation the battery died and I froze, and like you saw me, like the picture was still, but I kept talking. So in case you see that, don't, But anywho, thank you, ladies, for joining me. Oh my gosh, everybody! I want you to meet Krystle. Krystle, wave at everyone so they know. All right, and then Rosie, you wave at everyone. Okay, this is a mother and daughter duo, right? I brought them on purpose because I not only wanted them to speak their truth, but I'm hoping, we have different generations here, right? So different generation, different experiences, but they're beautiful people, y'all. They are beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're breaking up.
Oh no.
Okay, no, I hear you.
I'm sad.
I hear you. Okay, so, oh my gosh. So Rosie, wait a minute. Rosie, you know what I did? I went on YouTube.
Okay.
And listened to you.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Talk about, okay, Rosie, everyone, the mom, okay, she is a worshiper. Oh my God. Like, I'm so in love because these two women, they are not only like beautiful people, but we also share the same beliefs. Rosie, she's in law enforcement. She's a mom. She's a worshiper, y'all. Go on YouTube, check her out, Rosalia. Okay, Rosie, I'll let you talk more and tell everybody where to look for you. But oh my God, just before, I think that's what helped me calm down, because every remnants out there, I get nervous before the conversations, and I listen to Rosalia minister to my soul. Oh my God. Okay. Beautiful. And then Krystle, y'all, okay, she's coming in. She's making moves herself. You need to check her out on Instagram. And she'll tell you where to check out later on. I'll put it out there. She's making moves, y'all. And if you want to know what those moves are, I strongly recommend that you look her up on Instagram. So I said this short, brief introduction because I want to get on in there into this discussion, ladies. I know. Can you tell that I'm like super, super, super excited about this? So let's just jump on in there. Okay, so we're talking about racism, discrimination, right? I started talking to all the remnants out there before you came on, and I mentioned about, right now we're talking about what happened to George Floyd. We're talking about Black Lives Matter. We're talking about, the tension between, the whites and the Black and brown people, right? But then there was something interesting that I just thought about, right? And it's about the discrimination that is going on amongst us women, right? This is the Remnants of Red is an organization that's like women forward, right? It's all about breaking barriers in order to, tap into some part of us, right? So I wanted to talk about those stereotypes. I know it's growing up, if the cool kids were those that were probably a certain size. People tend to gravitate towards certain females that looked a certain way. The skin color was a certain hue. Let's start with that. What are your thoughts about that, or your experiences about that?
I mean, growing up, I was born and raised in Harlem, so we were already not not a lot of Spanish families. So we got along very well with everyone. We did experience issues with maybe very slightly though, but I think it was more like because of we dressed very, okay, let me explain. I was born and raised in church, and so there was a big stigma, or there was like a way that we all looked. All the Pentecostal girls looked the same. We used to wear long skirts, no earrings. So we stood out. Normally, we just stood out. And so I grew up going to school, but hearing the comment, like it could have been snowing. We had skirts on, and this is just like this is what the religious belief did for us growing up, as females, because the men probably didn't experience it, but for us as females, we experienced that. And so there were a lot of changes. There were not a lot of Spanish people in the neighborhood. And but I was never part of the in crowd anyway. And I was born and raised in a big family, so we really didn't, seek to be part of the crowd, because my mom was very strong and always taught us we need to stick together, and you don't need to be part of the in crowd, or you don't need to be, liked by everyone. So we already kind of grew up knowing that. But I think growing up, everyone experiences some type of issues in some kind of way. It doesn't matter for your hair, for your skin complexion, for your weight, for your religion. Kids, they do that because they learn behavior, and you never know what they're showing. What we're showing at home, we bring it to the school, and that's how it comes about.
Man, it's what about you, Crystal? You know, amongst your fellow, the people that you tend to, roll with, or maybe within the schools that you have attended, have you yourself ever had to deal with any form of discrimination, or maybe you had to defend someone who was going through that? I don't know, have you ever come across anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people forget that just because the stereotypical beautiful woman or model woman is skinny, people think that everybody wants to be skinny. But I don't know if you notice in culture, but in Hispanic culture and Black culture, being skinny is not. It's never womanly. It always makes you feel a little less womanly. Um,
Really?
yes, yes,
Everyone wanted to be skinny when I was.
that's what people think, but like that's why these conversations are so important, because there's so much happening on both sides, and people just
Right.
assume about the other side, and they don't understand, like, we don't communicate the things that happen on both sides. And I think being skinny, you can't talk about that too much, because everybody's gonna be like, well, what do you have to complain about? And I'm like, well, my mom and my sister are beautifully curvy and I have bones. That's not cute.
She's beautiful.
But I have, yeah, thanks to like my family and to the people around me, I had to grow out of that insecurity. But it is a very hard insecurity to go through, because you can't speak out about it, because people don't acknowledge that it's worth you being insecure about, or they don't validate the fact that you actually feel this way. So if you say, dang, I really hate that I'm so skinny, people don't really want to listen to how you feel. They're just like, oh, you're just being whatever about it. So like being skinny, also going to a dominantly white high school, that was a different situation altogether. I learned a lot about racial discrimination, just the different identities that are within the Latino culture. So Latinos are so many that sometimes we don't know which side we have to choose, and people are constantly asking to choose a side. So I was with the Black kids, because my family's from Harlem. I resonate with Black culture very strongly, because that's what I was raised around. I look more Black than I do white. So there was a lot there that I learned growing up, and I had to come to terms with. And then even while I was coming to terms with that, on one end, as I got more confident in that identity, it bothered some other people that were more okay with me settling with compromising who I was with to fit in the traditional stereotypes. So like if I was embracing Latin Blackness, or if I'm embracing my natural curly hair too much, then some Latinos may not like that, or may feel uncomfortable about that, because you know they're like, oh, are you trying to be Black, or are you trying to be something else? And so it was constantly like a back and forth until you find where you belong, and until God helps you find your identity. Like, this is who I am, like it or not. And if you're not, maybe you're not meant to be on this journey with me. And if you are with it, then let's put together our different perspectives to grow towards something else.
I like that. I like that because while you were talking, I was, you mentioned how you felt, you experienced those insecurities, that was brought on, with all the stereotypes out there. But you mentioned that, your family, thank God for your family, that helped pulled you out of that, but I couldn't help think about, go ahead.
As parents, we always try to protect too. Like it is a hard thing for parents too. We have a big role to play in this, because what we tell our kids at home, what they're gonna, what we're trying to lift them up and have them. As women, we want them to have good, high self-esteem, and not let anyone bring them down. And then they go to school, and you never know what they're gonna face. And some of the things they don't even come back. We don't even know until later on. And so have to make sure as parents that we are educating them properly at home, that we are filling them in with God, because our identity, God gives us our identity. And so as parents, we have to be alert. We have to pay attention and see what, kids always give.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And for anyone of you out there that, may be walking around with, feeling defeated, because honestly, there are a lot of, women, people in general, walking around defeated because of, all these stereotypes that are causing insecurities, and I'm glad for what you said, because that's why we have these conversations, because in case people out there don't have family, or in case people feel like they're in such a bubble, that, they feel like others don't care. Like, we want to get that get this, in your spirit. First of all, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And number one, like Rosalia mentioned, we were created, a certain way by God. Own it. Own it. That's what it's about. Own it. Make it where, I like to, you mentioned about, telling our children, how to, move in their uniqueness. Like one of my daughters, I thank God that she was born with a certain level of confidence. But where we live, she attends a school that I believe I think she and maybe one other child is colored, is Black in the classroom. And sometimes she comes home with stories. So now it becomes my job, especially someone who coming from an experience of having, to deal with, to battle and be delivered from certain insecurities. My job now is to not, make sure that my child doesn't have to go through those battles, as much as I can. So, I try to always infuse in her, right? It's about training them up, right? I try to always infuse in her that, listen, you are who you are. You are unique. You are beautiful. And I try to get a little stern with her. Like, I want you to go out there and to always make sure that you let people know how beautiful you are. If like Krystle mentioned, if they don't want to be your friend, then guess what? They're missing out, right? Yeah. So,
and then we always, as we always, like, I was talking to my daughters not so long ago. When I was in my 20s, I was always insecure of my body. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, I wish I was 20 again. So we are always secure about our body. It doesn't matter what age we're in. So I tell them, embrace, be happy where you are. When you get older, everything is different. So enjoy your body, enjoy yourself as a 20-year-old. When you get 30, you worry about that later. But right now, enjoy it.
Right. So so moving on, right? We mentioned about stereotypes. We are, what's going on right now is about a lot of, the word that's thrown around a lot is racism, racist, right? So I saw a post. I'm gonna read the post. I found that it was very interesting. And before I read it, the reason why we have these conversations is to erase certain lines that are causing the separation, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the ways we do that, I believe, is when knowledge, truth comes in. Right? Sometimes we have to really keep it real with ourselves. Last week I mentioned, really think about what you're thinking about. Really think about why you hate someone. Really think about, why you dislike something, right? So the post, it said that no matter how open-minded, socially conscious, anti-racist I think I am, I still have old, learned, hidden biases that I need to examine. And the person goes on to mention that it is my responsibility to check myself daily for my stereotypes, prejudice, and ultimately discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? What's the first thing? Remember, there's no right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind, especially Rosalia, Krystle, me, especially from you being a spiritual, you're someone who tends to walk along with the Spirit, with the Holy Spirit. You're a believer. So I know that there's knowledge, there are truths that you also try to abide by, being a believer. So hearing that, basically everyone has things that, we need to check, that could be influencing certain things. What are your thoughts about, that statement, that post?
The first thing that comes to my mind is, when I think about that, is biases. I think we all have them. As much as we try to um, say that we do, or we in front of people, we'll say we don't, but inside we know. I think we all have biases. They are influenced by our background. They're influenced by how we were raised, by the school that we went to, by our job, by our traumas, by traumas that we have had. And so I think that we all have biases. What we do with the biases is what is important. Like, do we choose to acknowledge them, which is the first thing we should be doing? Acknowledge, okay, I do have a bias with this, and is it a proper thing to do? No. Or how am I going to deal with that? And having God in our lives and having the Holy Spirit and the love of God, we're supposed to love everyone. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to open the doors to, there are people.
Right.
But I think that when you have the Holy Spirit, He is the guide to tell us who we should be with, who we should not be with, and who we should hang out with, or who we should let in our lives, close or not close. In general, we should love one another, as the Bible says. But I think
So
we do all.
I don't mean to cut you. So basically, not everybody is for us.
Not everybody's for us.
Okay.
We know that because we there's good and there's evil. We know that, but we still love to the extent we know everybody on an individual basis. Like I think about it. What I always bring it back to how I raise my kids. What I tell my kids when they're going out. Be careful. You don't trust everybody. Keep your eyes open. Be aware. Basic things like you have to be careful. There's always evil there. But I think that when there's a thin line with having that type of precaution and making it into fear and biases and keeping people away that we should not. And that's where the Holy Spirit comes in as a balance to show us what we should be doing, what we should not be doing, and to heal us from those bad thoughts of how we were raised.
So I think that is, something worth, thinking about. Everyone listening, make sure you go back and hear that point. We need something. I believe that we all need something to anchor us. How would I say it? Because of those hidden things, like you mentioned, we grow up in a world with a lot of different views, a lot of different beliefs, a lot of, ways of life that influences how people talk, how they relate to each other. So, and that's one reason why I am a believer in Jesus Christ, right? Because I realized that I had some mess about me that I needed straightened out, that I needed dealt with. And I knew I couldn't do it for myself. I knew it didn't take just willpower. And remnants out there, yeah, we're talking about Jesus Christ. We're talking about God right now, because this is not just, we're not meaning for this to be some, Christian talk show or whatever. What we're talking about are facts, right? We're speaking our truth, right? So when it comes to dealing with these biasness, with these issues on the inside of us, in order to tame them or get rid of them, we need an outside force.
Yeah.
And our outside force happens to be Jesus Christ, right? And what Jesus Christ tells us is that we need to love on. We need to love on everybody. We just basically need to love on each other, as difficult as it is. And you ladies chime in if whatever I'm saying, you want to expand on, or, fields, need to be, a little, I don't know whether to say corrected or whatever the case may be, let me know, because again, this is my truth and we're all running it against each other. Right. So, we needed Jesus Christ to come in. I needed Jesus Christ to come in to deal with these things so that I am able to deal with other people. That's not to say, I don't get upset. That's not to say that there aren't people out there that I have issues with. That's just to say I know how to deal with it better, So go ahead, Chris.
Because I also truly believe that we serve the creator of this universe. Like me as Christian and as believers, you as a believer, I know that we agree on that. We serve the creator of the universe. So everything that was created in this universe, I do believe that it was meant for good. And what happened was that it got perverted, it got twisted into bad. So when it comes to prejudice, I believe that prejudice at some point we do need to exercise discernment, and we do need to exercise, what some people call that intuition that's not from us, but it's a supernatural spiritual thing that tells us who to look for what types of situations, who to help, who needs help. Like there's a certain connection that, yeah, for some people it may seem like you're judging, but you need to judge some situations, and that's the reality of the life we live. That's how we make decisions. We have to judge certain situations, and when those judgments are guided by the creator of that person that maybe you're judging, or by the creator of that opportunity that maybe you're deciding on whether to take or not, then it is a good way to use judgment. But when we lean on our own understanding, we try to judge things from our own understanding or from our own traumas with certain type of people, or from our own experiences negative with certain types of people, then I think that's where things start going left, because now we're discriminating, and we're looking at someone and saying and aligning them with a trauma, essentially. So I believe that, like there are some people that say, oh, I don't see color. I think that we should see color. I think that's part of how we can embrace each other, how we can make certain decisions, if we acknowledge that this person has a certain gift or a certain insight into being who they are that I would like to learn from. I have Haitian friends, for example, and they dance compa. I prefer to learn how to dance compa from my Haitian friends. I love compa, but I prefer to dance them because they are Haitian, because they come from that. And I am judging, like if somebody that was Russian or something dance compa, I'm sure they would, if they're professionals and things like that, I'm sure they would be very good at it. But I would also judge them based on, okay, well, you're not Haitian, so what other things qualify you to teach me this in the right way? But my Haitian, I might not think of it that deeply because they're Haitian. That comes in their blood, so there's, I think, yeah. So I think that's, we have to filter everything through the creator of what we're judging.
And I think that God always will lead us to embrace one another. And while we're doing that, we are accepting that we are not all going to be the same, because I think a lot of how we were raised and what's around media also like teaches us to compare another, or who's better. And there's no such thing better than other. We're all in God's. If we just would learn each other the way that we're supposed to love each other. I may not be good at math, but she's good at it. But I'm good in science, and we can love each other if she's not good in science. Or, we can do that in cultures as well. Some cultures do this, or some cultures do that. All cultures worship differently. And so when we get to heaven, we're all going to be in one place worshiping God. It's all going to be beautiful. So yeah, we have a job to do here. And I think this, what's happening now in the world is putting everything in our, like a lot of things that we try to push away, we can no longer. We have to talk to our children about the things that are happening. Raise up our kids in God. I think the source of everything is God. Without God, we are lost. We need God back. God needs to come back into our home, churches, into our relationships. The source of everything is God. Then He can teach us, our eyes to what it is that we have to heal from.
I mean, how else can you say that truth? I mean, think about it. I mean, he is the creator, right? That's just, it's like buying. It's like, okay, you buy a device,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
That device comes with instructions. You cannot put that device, you cannot operate that thing without the instruction that came from the person that created the device you can operate.
But we have an issue in this household, and we're laughing because the only person that reads that house is Krystle. I tried to put the entire thing together and get to the end, and there's like 2 screws that are missing, and we don't take the whole thing down. And Krystle's like, I'll read the instructions. Maybe, let me read the instructions. It's not going to work if we don't read the instructions. And you're so right.
I mean, there are a lot of, there are a lot of screws that are missing in society today, right? Maybe it's because we need to go back to the manual that was created by the person who created everything in the first place, right? I know there may be people watching that are not Christians or that are not, but I mean, listen, this is our truth, right? Like, we believe that everything seen and unseen was created by God. That's our truth, right? We're speaking our truth. It was created by God. And so we believe that in order to, function in this world, in order to, function in ourselves, right? We believe reading the instruction manual we call the Bible that was given by him is what helps us. So if we're talking about racism, if we're bringing it back to racism, right? We go back to this manual to pick things up in order to deal with what's going on in this world. So here it is. We have Eunice, who says that God will lead us to embrace one another, period, right? And then she also mentioned that she talked about how the instructions from the device illustration, she loved it. Thank you, Eunice. But that's what it is. So if we're to talk about solution, we're going to wrap up right now, right? So briefly, tell us, if we're to get practical, besides going to the instruction manual, which is the Bible, instead, what are some other ways, especially as women, that we can help erase some of these lines of discrimination that has been put up, between us all?
I think that communication is so important. Communication amongst, like we said, in the home, but also outside of the home. I think we have to we have to learn to communicate properly, because I think there's a lot of communication going on, but it's not because a lot of hurt is behind it. And so it's coming across maybe the wrong way because of the anger, and because of the hurt. And so I think that we need to find the common ground, and we need to communicate, because I think that the system is going to be the system. There's so much that we can do. But a lot of things we as a community and as people have control over. And I think that there are things that we need to do. And that is, regardless of how the system is, we need to do what's right. And so if we communicate with one another, when there's a hostile situation, that we ask God to come in, and we say, you know what, let's talk, because maybe we're not understanding each other, and agree to disagree. I'm not always going to agree with Krystle, and we live in the same house. I'm not always going to agree with you, and we go to the same church and serve the same God. But the beauty of it, when we come and love each other, and I think communication is so important, and I think that that's something will always try to come into the community. If you think about it, in the relationship, in your relationship, with your children, and even with your spouse, but communication is very, because the enemy will always try to destroy it or put in your mind that, or if someone makes think it's for you, insecurities come up, and so communication, we have to always ask God to guide us when it comes to communication. And I think also the other thing I wanted to mention is that as women, we have to look out, not, and I've been saying this for a while now, and I'm going to repeat it because I think it's so important. We have to look out not only for our children, but for other people's children, whoever's in our path. Like, you know, before they used to say it's
unity.
Yeah, it takes a village to raise a child. We don't see that anymore. Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody discipline another person's child. You know, people get offended, and so I think that we should have that's the way we can have accountability. Let's, you know, and if I was walking around my neighborhood doing something wrong, you know, then it was possible that someone in my neighborhood was going to either tell me or tell my mom, and I knew that when I walked in the street, I had to do it right, because if not, you know, I would get in trouble. And so I think that accountability, I think that also communicating, I also think that helping each other out, neighbor, sister, you know, whoever's next to you, you could be anywhere. If you see something, you know, let's give the love. Let's, just like we take out our phones to record what's going on, why don't we extend our conversation with the person? Listen, how can I help you? We're not putting ourselves in danger, but when we can, we see a troubled child anywhere. Can I give you a hug? Can I pray for you? Or can I offer you? Can I just talk to you? Or even a smile? Some people, even adults, we need that nowadays. We need the compassion of God. We need love, and we need God.
It sounds like there's some basic things that need to come back into play. And there's been a challenge posed by Rosalia, y'all. I wonder how many people actually take the time out to understand each other. Like, do you really do that? Like, or do you just immediately get angry and start disliking? Do you actually take the time out to find out why that person reacted that way? I don't know. But you definitely challenged me, Rosalia. Krystle, do you have any final words?
Yeah, I think like my mom was saying, community. I've learned the importance of community. We were meant to live on this earth together, and not just together like cohabiting, but actually working together, actually communicating with each other, helping each other out. We're meant to be part of each other's lives. So if we don't know how we can make that connection more productive, then we're not living a fulfilled. And I've seen and experienced both the lack of community and godly community, and it's a world of a difference when you just are within a community of people that you know are rooting for your best, and extend that community a little more. That would be amazing as women and just as people also, but definitely especially as women, because we relate on so many things and we can really help each other so many things. And I also think I'm going blank. I also think that in those conversations is also a big thing that opens the door for healing. And people are willing to go through a little bit of uncomfortable conversation, but with the intention for healing, that would go such a long time.
Pastor Mendez here, he wrote, when possible, it's best to bend at times than to break. It's so, so, you know, it takes away the pride when we compromise. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And also, like, grace and love is only shown through other people. So isolation also doesn't work. You know, life doesn't better if you just say, I'm tired of all these people. I'm going to stay in my house and mind my business and do my own thing.
It didn't work for me.
It really doesn't. And that's, we've been blessed to be vessels of grace and vessels. So we share love when we interact with people. We share grace when we interact with people. If you fall and you make a total fool of yourself and you mess up, you can give yourself a pep talk to get back up. Yeah, spiritually, you may get something that gives you a boost, but there's nothing like having a fellow brother or sister say, hey, you know, I've been there before, but let's get back up and let's see how we can help you do it better the next time. Like that, another level of grace that is so tangible and is so, you can't ignore it, and you can't be the same after receiving that kind of grace. And that healing process to be that kind of vessel for the next person that you see and that you can help, you know. So it's like, you know, we're vessels that keep pouring and what's poured into us pours into others. And I think being open to do that and setting up safe places for people to do that, for people to a safe environment where they know that they won't be shunned or something, that is I think the first level to so much, because that's how most of the movements that we're experiencing right now, that's how they start, with conversation, with people expressing their anger, frustration, their joys, you know, people lifting each other up, you know, posting Black businesses, you know, all of these things are all through communication. So we are so powerful in what we express and how we encourage each other. We really do have the power of love on our tongue. And it's so powerful, man.
I love that. I love that. Remnants out there, OMG. There has been so much nuggets, gems, jewels dropped. I am challenging all of you to pick them up and activate them in your lives. Like, we don't have these conversations just to be talking. No, we're hoping my mission, their mission, as individuals, not just as a movement or an organization, is that people are actually being changed by this stuff. Like, we've all gone through whatever experiences we have gone through in life just to be able to share it with another person, you know, so that another person may not go through it, so that another person may be healed, so that another person may be delivered. So whatever you hear on these conversations, if you happen to meet Rosalia, if you happen to meet Krystle, I promise you that what they're talking about, you will feel that love. You will feel individuals that, you know, want to connect. So whatever was said in this conversation, I'm almost begging you, everyone out there, activate them in your life, right? Take them, move on them, and I promise you, you will see changes, because this is truth here. This is truth. It's not merely opinions. It's truth. It's tried. It has been tried, and we have found that it's true. So,
and also
go ahead.
The more that, even if you're not good at it the first time you try, the more that you have, the more that you talk about it, encourages you to keep going. Like, there's so much to talk about right now that I still struggle with so much every day on a daily basis, but it is a daily. So the more you talk about it, the more you're around people that are willing to have these conversations, it'll build you up. It really will.
Yes, it will. And on that note, remnants, we have to go. But I promise you, we are going to have Rosalia and Krystle together again. Maybe together, maybe separate, maybe both, all of the above. But I promise you, they're coming back, because I enjoyed this. I got things that I'm going to take, you know, off camera and make sure I apply it to my life. So if you want to know more about them, Instagram, you have Krystle. She's at Just Krys, JUS_KRYS, right?
Yes.
Look for her. And then Rosalia Music. Oh my God. Please go on YouTube. Look for her. Instagram. Look for her. These ladies are fabulous. Remnants of Red. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please support, share the video. hit a like button, I don't know, all that good stuff, you know, because again, it's about
Nora,
yes.
you are fabulous too for doing this, for bringing women together. I know that this is going to be powerful. Like God is doing something powerful in your heart, and I know it. And whatever's in your heart, don't be afraid to bring it out. You are powerful. You have beautiful children that are looking at you, and they're going to be empowered too. Girl, go with whatever, run with it. Whatever God is putting in your heart is not crazy. Go with it. You're doing
Thank you.
And if it's crazy, I'm for it.
Yes.
Thank you. That's why if I'm going anywhere, it's because of you ladies. It's because of every remnant out there that supports. So please, again, this is not even for me. It's for every one of you. God knows how much, you know, this movement started because of a yearning, a longing, a strong affection to see women healed and move on their purposes. So please support, support, support. And on that note, we're going to say,
I want to say also that just because we are empowering women, we do not leave the men behind.
Nope.
We need the men to step up.
Yes.
We need to be leaders of their home, and we need them to guide the women.
Mm-hmm.
We need that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, God created Adam and Eve. Like he could have just created Adam and left Adam alone, or he could have just, you know, instead of Adam, just brought Eve here and just, you know, there's a reason why, you know, God made, we can't do this. Men remnants, we're not that movement that we're like, no, we need y'all. We need y'all, the husbands you were created to be, the fathers you were created to be, the males that come along, us females that you were created to be. So yes, that's very important. Yes, that's why I had to open up, you know, remnants to make sure to include the men, because there are men out there that are backing women up, making sure that, like, there are women made by men out there. You know what I mean? Not to sound like, you know, but you know. There are women, because of the support of men, there are a lot of women standing. We cannot deny you guys. So on that note, I am going to say peace out. And like I always say, please love on somebody. That's my closing. That's my mantra. Please love on somebody. Please. So thank you again, Rosalia and Krystle. You run this out there. See you next week.